Listen up, gentlemen. I'm about to tell you something that might hurt your feelings, but it's going to change your life if you let it sink in. Are you ready for this? Real men don't seek validation, period, full stop, end of discussion. Now, I know some of you are already getting uncomfortable. I can feel it through the screen. Your chest is tightening up because you know I'm talking directly to you. The man who checks his phone every 5 minutes to see if she texted back. The man who posts a picture and then refreshes Instagram to count the likes. The man who can't make a decision without asking 10 people what they think first. But here's the thing, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to wake you up. Because somewhere along the way we got lost. We started believing that our worth comes from outside approval. And that's exactly how we ended up with a generation of men walking around like hungry ghosts, constantly seeking something that can never truly satisfy them. Today, we're going to break that cycle. We're going to talk about what it really means to be a man who doesn't need validation from anyone, not your woman, not your friends, not social media, not even your family. This isn't about being cold or disconnected. This is about being free. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is check your phone. Not to handle business, not to check the time, to see who noticed you, who liked your post from last night, who watched your story, who responded to your text, and if nobody did, your whole day is off. You feel like something's wrong with you. Like you're invisible, like you don't matter. Brother, that's not living, that's existing at the mercy of other people's attention spans. Here's what happened to us. We grew up in a world that told us our value comes from external sources. Good grades meant you were smart. Trophies meant you were successful. Applause meant you were worthy. And if you didn't get those things, well, you must not be good enough. But here's the truth they never taught us. Seeking validation is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. It doesn't matter how much water you pour in, it's never going to stay full. You get that approval you're craving, and what happens? You feel good for about 5 minutes, then you need more and more. You know what this creates? Weak men. Men who shape-shift depending on their audience. Men who say what they think others want to hear instead of what they actually believe. Men who compromise their values for a pat on the head. I've seen grown men, and I mean grown men, change their entire personality depending on which woman they're trying to impress. I've seen men abandon their dreams because their friends said it was unrealistic. I've seen men stay in jobs they hate because their parents think it's respectable. That's not manhood. That's slavery with extra steps. The validation trap works like this. You do something for approval, you get approval, you feel temporary satisfaction, the satisfaction fades, you need more approval. You do something else, the cycle repeats, and each time you give away a little more of your authentic self. Before you know it, you don't even know who you are anymore because you've been so busy being who you think others want you to be. Now, let me tell you what seeking validation really costs you. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about something far more valuable. First, it costs you your authenticity. When you're constantly worried about what others think, you can't be yourself. You become a performer. Always on stage, always wearing a mask. You lose touch with your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own desires. You become a stranger to yourself. I worked with a man last year, a successful businessman, beautiful family, everything looked perfect from the outside. But he came to me broken. You know why? He realized he had spent 15 years living someone else's life. His parents wanted him to be a lawyer, so he became a lawyer. His wife wanted him to be social, so he pretended to love parties. His friends expected him to be the funny guy, so he became the clown. And one day, his son asked him, "Dad, what do you like to do?" And this man couldn't answer. He literally didn't know. Second, it costs you your power. Every time you hand over the responsibility for your self-worth to someone else, you give them power over you. You make them the author of your story. You put your emotional state in their hands. Think about that. You're literally giving strangers on the internet the power to determine whether you have a good day or a bad day. You're giving your woman the power to make you feel like a king or like garbage, depending on her mood. You're giving your boss, your friends, your family, the power to validate or invalidate your existence. That's not strength. That's voluntary enslavement. Third, it costs you your relationships. Here's something most men don't realize. People can smell desperation from a mile away. When you're seeking validation, you're not connecting with people authentically. You're using them. You're not interested in them. You're interested in what they can give you. Approval, attention, validation. Women especially can sense this. They can feel when a man's energy is needy, when he's looking for them to complete him rather than compliment him. And what happens? They lose respect for you, they lose attraction, they pull away. And here's the cruel irony. The more you chase validation, the less likely you are to get it. The more you need approval, the less worthy of approval you appear. The more you seek respect, the less respectable you become. Fourth, and this is the big one, it cost you your dreams. How many men have given up on what they really wanted because someone else didn't approve? How many have settled for mediocrity because it was safe and wouldn't invite criticism? You had dreams once. Remember that? Before the world told you to be realistic, before people told you it was too risky or too late or too hard, you had fire in your belly and vision in your eyes. What happened to that man? I'll tell you what happened. He got talked out of himself by people whose opinions he valued more than his own. Now, before we go any further, let me clear something up. When I say real men don't seek validation, I'm not saying you should be an island. I'm not saying you should ignore feedback or never consider other people's perspectives. I'm not talking about arrogance or narcissism. What I'm talking about is having your own internal compass, having your own standards, having your own definition of success and failure that doesn't depend on external approval. Self-gratulation means you know your own worth and it's not up for debate. It's not a democracy where everyone gets to vote on whether you're valuable or not. It's a simple fact that you've accepted you have worth because you exist, because you're working to become the best version of yourself, because you're living according to your values. Here's what this looks like in practice. You make decisions based on your values, not on what will get you the most likes or approval. You choose your career path based on what fulfills you and serves your purpose, not on what impresses other people. You express your opinions honestly, even when they're unpopular. You say no when you need to say no, and yes when you need to say yes, regardless of what others expect. You don't need your woman to constantly tell you how amazing you are to feel good about yourself. You don't need your friends to validate your choices. You don't need social media to confirm that you matter. Does this mean you don't appreciate compliments? Of course not. Does it mean you don't value the opinions of people you trust? Absolutely not. But here's the difference. These things are nice to have, not necessary to have. They're bonuses, not requirements. Self-creation means you become your own judge and jury. You set the standards for your life, and you're the one who determines whether you're meeting them or not. You become accountable to yourself, first and foremost. And here's what happens when you truly embody this. everything changes. Your energy changes. Your presence changes. Your relationships change. Your whole life changes. People start to respect you more because you respect yourself. They start to seek your validation because you're not seeking theirs. Women become more attracted to you because you're not needy. You become a magnet instead of a vacuum. But most importantly, you become free. Free to be yourself, free to pursue your dreams, free to live according to your own values and standards. Now, I want to address something. Some of you are thinking, but Alfonso, what if I'm wrong? What if I make bad decisions? What if I need other people's input? Listen to me carefully. You're going to make mistakes either way. The difference is when you make mistakes based on your own judgment, you learn and grow. When you make mistakes based on seeking validation, you become bitter and resentful because you gave your power away. And yes, seek counsel from people you trust and respect, but seek it as information, not as validation. There's a huge difference between asking someone for their perspective and asking them to make you feel better about yourself. All right, now let's get practical. How do you actually stop seeking validation and start validating yourself? This isn't just theory, this is real work that requires real commitment. Step 1, become aware of your validation-seeking behaviors. Start paying attention to why you do what you do. Before you post something on social media, ask yourself, am I sharing this because it's authentic to me or because I want approval? Before you tell someone about your achievement, ask yourself, am I sharing this because I'm genuinely excited or because I need them to validate my success? This isn't about stopping all sharing or communication. It's about understanding your motivations. Step 2, define your own standards. Sit down and write out what success means to you. Not what your parents think it means, not what society says it means. What does it mean to you to be a good man, a good partner, a good father, a good professional? These become your measuring stick. When you achieve something that meets your standards, you celebrate. When you fall short, you course correct. Other people's opinions become irrelevant. Step 3, practice saying no. Start small. Say no to social events you don't want to attend. Say no to requests that don't align with your priorities. Say no to conversations that drain your energy. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to yourself. You're reinforcing that your time, energy, and attention are valuable. Step 4, stop explaining yourself so much. Validation seekers over-explain everything because they're trying to get approval for their choices. I can't come to the party because I have to work, and my boss is really demanding right now, and I've been so busy, and try this instead. I can't make it, period. Your reasons are your business. Step 5, develop your own rituals of self-acknowledgement. Instead of waiting for others to celebrate your wins, celebrate them yourself. Finished a difficult project? Take yourself out for a nice dinner. Hit a personal goal? Buy yourself something meaningful. Made a difficult but right decision? Acknowledge your courage. You become your own biggest supporter instead of waiting for others to support you. Step 6, embrace discomfort. Here's the truth. When you stop seeking validation, some people won't like it. They might call you selfish, stubborn, or difficult. Good. That means you're doing it right. The people who have a problem with your self-validation are usually the ones who are benefiting from your validation seeking. They liked having power over your emotions. They liked being needed. Let them be uncomfortable. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Step 7, find your purpose. Men who seek validation often do so because they don't have a clear sense of purpose. When you know what you're here to do, when you have a mission that's bigger than yourself, other people's opinions become background noise. What are you called to do? What legacy do you want to leave? What impact do you want to have? Answer these questions, and validation seeking becomes irrelevant. I want to tell you about transformation, real transformation. Not the surface level changes that last a few weeks, but the deep, fundamental shift that changes everything. When you truly stop seeking validation and start validating yourself, you don't just change behaviors, you change identity. You stop being someone who needs constant approval and become someone who knows their own worth. And here's what that looks like. You walk into rooms differently. Your posture changes. Your energy changes. People notice something different about you, but they can't quite put their finger on what it is. That's confidence, real confidence, not the fake, loud, attention-seeking kind, the quiet, unshakable kind that comes from within. Your relationships improve dramatically. When you stop being needy, people want to be around you more. When you stop seeking validation from your woman, she respects you more. When you stop trying to impress your friends, they value your friendship more. Your work improves because you're not paralyzed by fear of criticism. You take calculated risks. You speak up in meetings. You pursue opportunities that excite you rather than ones that look good to others. Your stress levels drop because you're not constantly worried about what everyone thinks. You sleep better. You have more energy. You're more present because you're not always performing. But here's the most important change. You start to like yourself. Not in an arrogant way, but in a healthy way. You become comfortable with your own company. You enjoy your own thoughts. You trust your own judgment. Listen to me, gentlemen. The world is full of men who are waiting for permission to be themselves. Don't be one of them. The world is full of men who are living their lives based on other people's expectations. Don't be one of them. You have one life. One life. Are you going to spend it seeking approval from people who probably aren't even thinking about you? Or are you going to spend it becoming the man you're capable of being? Real men don't seek validation because they don't need it. They have something more powerful: self-respect, purpose, and the courage to be authentic. The choice is yours. You can keep living for other people's approval, or you can start living for something greater, your own highest potential. What's it going to be?